Okay, I think live streaming is started. Let me just confirm. Okay, looks good. So we're live. So yeah, we were starting a special meeting, like we never had this before. So it's a meeting dedicated to AsyncAPI Conference 2022 organization. And yeah, as usual, it's live stream, and then the recording is available for the community. And before I let others to speak, or maybe actually no, like let's follow the same approach that we always follow. So we have one new person on the meeting. Emily, could you like briefly introduce yourself to others why you're here?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Ruff. I'm with the Linux Foundation events team. So I support multiple Linux Foundation projects and the events that they host, both virtual and in person around the world for various communities.
Thank you. And Emily is here because, like, as you know, AsyncAPI is part of Linux Foundation. And also last year when we organized the conference for 2021, the virtual event, the whole CFP process was organized with support from Linux Foundation and the software that Linux Foundation uses. And this year, of course, we still want to get as much support as possible. But yeah, let me start with some brief introduction, some like organizational information. So the most important, all these discussions about the event, they happen on GitHub in the community repo. There's a discussion tab that is enabled for us, and we have a dedicated category for discussions. So I just pasted the link for others to follow up. From the discussions that we already had, because like we started talking about the conference few months even ago, but yeah, different things delayed the actual work on the event. And some time ago during the regular community meetings, we discussed two things. One is the need to have a dedicated conference meeting. So it's like just focus on the conference and people can just jump into the meeting just to discuss conference topics. So that's why we organized this meeting now on Thursday, and so far nobody suggested different dates. So again, next meeting will happen again in 2 weeks, just for the record. And the other stuff is the survey. So we decided, because there are many different options coming up from the community where we can organize the conference, Barcelona, Canary Islands, UK, Poland, Croatia, whatever, you name it. We decided during the community meeting that the best is just to survey the community. So to have a list of options and then ask the community to basically say where they would be more eager to come to an event. So we will survey community next week. I hope we can do it on Monday. So Ace, who is member of our technical steering committee, he's almost like 95% ready with the new website of the conference, where we just have a headline like that we are starting new conference. And we will put there a survey questions like, where do you want to go? When do you want to go? And if you don't want to go at all, or you will just join virtually. So that's almost done. Ace showed me what he has. So it's like he's super advanced. We just need content that, Emily will continue discussion about right in a minute. So to summarize, we will meet every 2 weeks, and next week we want to ask the community where we should organize it to get the date, because the date actually blocks many different activities like call for papers. So that's about it. So Emily, would you like to continue, especially about the venue and the dates?
Sure thing. So do you mind me sharing my screen?
Yeah, definitely. I'll give you.
Okay.
co-host right, just a sec. Okay, now you should be able to share the screen.
Okay. All right, so before we talk about actual locations that we can consider, I want to just kind of do an overview of what Lucas and I have talked about, what the event should look like. This is all a little bit in flux, so use these as general parameters, and as we kind of finalize details, we can lock these in and make them a little more concrete. But generally, we're looking at October or November of 2022 in Europe, a 2 to 3 day event, and about 100 attendees. And then for the schedule, this is where we say this is flexible. It's not set in stone yet, but day one could be a half day. We start in the afternoon, have a reception with some sponsors at the venue. Day two would be keynote and sessions all day. Day three would be similar, and maybe we end early on that day so people can still get flights out should they choose. As far as the actual location and venue, we talked about we can look at hotels and also some unique venues that aren't just a standard hotel. One large room for presentations, so one single track, and then also having ample space for networking, sponsor tables, and just the community to interact besides sitting and watching sessions all day. Hoping for a warmer climate in October and November. And then I just added in there a place that has limited visa requirements. So we know there are just some countries that they're going to require visa, but at least for maybe the majority of attendees, that's not going to be a requirement. Just to note, LF does help with visa letters if we get to that point, so we can help create those for everyone. So, and then we are looking at dates to avoid. So US Thanksgiving is late in November. We have World Cup the end of November, and then KubeCon, Cloud Native Con North America is at the end of October. So we'll keep those in mind as we're looking at dates. If anyone else knows of any other large industry events or major holidays that we're missing, let us know. We'll be sure to add this to the list as we search for venues. Any questions or comments on this initial page?
Just a small comment from my side. So it looks like basically we're targeting the first 2 weeks of November, kind of.
I think so. Yeah. All right. So on to actual locations. So I started with, I've gone through, we've looked at basically where are some of the easier places to get to. We don't want people to have to take a plane, a boat, a car, bus, all the modes of transportation to get there. And then also what's going to be farther south in Europe that is probably warmer during this time of year. And also I kind of put these targeted cities, but I just want to know that to kind of mention that we'll look at some of the outskirts of these cities too, that might have a unique venue, a neat resort that would accommodate this group and just, create that community feeling for everyone. So let's start with Greece. Athens is easy access. You can get direct flights from all over the world, especially around Europe. I would love everyone's thoughts if there's other places in Greece you'd like to consider. I chose Athens just because of the accessibility, and it's easy for people to get to. Happy to add to that. Spain, looking at Barcelona and Valencia. Barcelona is the easiest one as far as flights go. There's numerous flights all day. For those that are familiar with KubeCon, we just had KubeCon in Valencia last week. There are a lot of flights within Europe, but I would also say if you miss your flight, you might be waiting till the next day. So just to kind of put that out there. Sevilla, same thing. There are enough flights. I think it's a nice inland location, but again, not a huge amount of flights in and out. Canary Islands, I heard this was a special request of this group, so we added this here. Definitely have some nice properties there, and there's a pretty decent number of flights in and out each day too from Europe. All right, going over to Italy. There's a lot of options there, a lot of smaller cities we can look at. I put 2 larger cities on each side of the country, Naples and Bari. Both have lots of venue options for us, easy to get to. And then especially around Naples, there's multiple cities we can look at. Portugal, I looked at Lisbon. Again, lots of venues there, lots of flights in and out, and it's probably the farthest south city in Portugal that has good venues for us. And then one other we threw on here was Morocco. I know that there might be some more issues with people getting to a different continent just with visa and maybe company corporate travel policies, things like that. But we thought we'd put it in there as just an option and we can see what comes back. So I guess on this, I'd love any input you might have. If there's any other city you say, oh, we absolutely must look here. Kind of the process is we take the specifications that we've walked through. We'll send out, we have a standard RFP process that we send out to venues. So we'll reach out to not just hotel chains. We reach out to what's called the Convention and Visitors Bureau. They give us recommendations for other venues that are outside of standard hotels. And we usually give them like 2 weeks to respond. And then what I would do is come back and share a presentation with you of all the venues that have come back that have reasonable availability. So any questions, thoughts, cities you want me to add or remove from the list? Okay.
Awesome.
Great. Sounds good. Did you want me to walk through any of the other documents right now, the CFP or anything, or just sit tight on those for now?
So let's just wrap up maybe the venue and the date. So so as I understand, we can basically ask the community for any, like on the decision for any of these locations, because like maybe a different question, like you, for example, have Bari from Italy there, but is it just one of the many locations that you just found out, or is it that you, for example, know that there was some event, there's some connection, or how?
It's a bit of both. So I looked at either we've done an event and we know it's been a good location. Others, we've just looked and saw what type of hotels or venues are available there. And then just did a quick search on flights to see how available, accessible a city is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're basically putting the, so we have content for question about the location, and we can, like looking at the, like, because KubeCon is obviously something that we don't want to collide with, and World Cup as well. I think it's still the most popular sport in the world, at least in my bubble. So I would say again, like it looks like we're targeting first 2 weeks of November. So we're basically asking the community something around this, like if they want, if we can just ask them if they prefer Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, let's say first week, and then again next week of November, just to clarify.
Yeah, and what I think might be helpful is maybe there's a preference. We send it out to the group for a preference, but we still search both weeks, the venues, to see what comes back.
Okay.
And I'm just double checking we have an industry calendar and seeing what's on here for those weeks. So I'm not seeing any major conflicts. So we're looking good.
Okay, cool. So yeah, the basics we have, we can then ask people where they wanna come. Cool. There's a question in the chat. Yeah, actually, like, so for me, it can also be a weekend, and I know that some folks prefer weekdays because they treat travel as a work, but we definitely should check, like, again, it's the first time we do in person, so we need to adjust and check, like, what people prefer. So yeah, I'll make a note and remember that when we put it on the website, we also give this option with that overlap, that week where weekend is overlapping. Okay, so Emily, I think we can continue with other documents.
Okay. So then the next thing we can cover here is the call for papers. So what we had, sorry, I thought I had this up and I don't. Last year we were in the CFP. It was a fairly straightforward process as far as what the templates that we use at the LF, and we can easily just replicate that. I think what we'd want to consider is when you had the RFP last year, the CFP, did you get the responses you were looking for? Is there a question that we should be adding to help clarify anything? Or is there maybe another topic you want to add? So let me share my screen again.
So with the last CFP, we had basically no issues. It went pretty smooth. The only thing I don't remember if it's clarified. So among all the proposals, only 2 were marketing-ish. So definitely I would add maybe some sentence like, yeah, if it's about marketing, then don't provide the proposal. But the overall always good. And I remember that last time because I was responsible for it last year, and I think in the template you have some sessions already, like proposal of session types and length of the session, I guess. Yeah. So this one, I remember that I did some modifications here. So that's something that we would definitely ask the community if we should keep all of them or not. But again, like nobody really said that we're missing some type of submission or something.
Okay. I'm just looking. I have last year's. Okay, so this is what we used. So would it be easiest just to duplicate those from what we had last year?
Yeah, for now I would say yes, but we would anyway, like I said, like we don't make decisions here, so we will anyway create a discussion after this meeting, just to enable others to share opinion.
Okay.
And then we'll adjust if needed.
Perfect. Well, I'll kind of clean this up and you can have that. Maybe I will just put this in a different color so it's easier to read. Okay, and then as far as tracks, we didn't do track type. We called it a talk type. And you had technical, end user, and case study.
Yeah, and we don't have tracks. We have just one track, right?
Yeah, we can call that. So let's take that out and actually just call it talk type. Okay, so the other area of this I would suggest chatting through and making a decision fairly quickly would be deadlines. So kind of working backwards, let's just say the event is the first week of November. In an ideal situation, the agenda is published 3 months out for an in-person event. That gives people time to get travel approval, send it to anyone that needs to say give the blessing for them to go, and then also booking travel at reasonable prices. So with that, I'm going to put in some suggested dates and you can let me know how those go. Let's see, 1, 2, we'd want the agenda first week of August. And then we typically do speaker notifications the week prior to the schedule being launched. And you can tell me how long you think the group needs to review, but usually we give them 2 weeks to review, and then we do another week for the discussion of like what gets accepted, what gets put on a wait list, and what gets declined. So it's usually pretty simple. You take all anyone that got 4 and above out of 5 and say they're on the agenda. Maybe 2s and 3s say, yeah, let's review them. And then anyone that's scored below, we say is declined. So, I mean, we're already, that would be 3 weeks. That would be, that's a US holiday, but anyway, these are just for your reference of kind of the suggested timeline of what we should do for a CFP.
Okay, so basically like best would be if CFP is opened already at the beginning of June.
Next week, it's easy. Okay. Something I think that can get started on is, I know you've got someone working on graphics. If they want to get started on those, these are the 2 sizes we need for the platform. Yeah. But I know we need event dates and location, things like that too. So, okay. But I do think you can put a CFP without a final location and date, with the assumption people know I'm either likely going to attend or not. And you can just kind of give them the general parameters of when we're looking.
Yeah, you're right, because anyway, most of the CFPs, at least in last year, was coming really from direct discussions with people, like telling them, hey, apply, we know you from the community, that what you do with AsyncAPI, talk about it to other people, please apply. So and so we will explain, like, we don't have yet fixed date, but it's more or less here and there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. What else would you like me to cover? I can talk through the sponsorship options, or that might be easier to do that offline. Let me know.
Just to not have too much information on day one.
Yeah.
Let's. I would say we can do it offline. In the discussions, because there's already a lot to digest. So yeah, let me now jump maybe to my screen, so I follow up from the what's my suggestion for others. Okay, can you see my screen, like Visual Studio Code?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, cool, perfect. So yeah, like again, the core idea behind the meeting is that it's like a group of people working on the conference. I remember that when I was coordinating everything last year, it was super exhausting, and for in person, it might be even more. So again, right after this meeting, I will publish this as a discussion where we can track like who's coordinating what activity in the whole process of organizing the conference, and CFP has special place here. So again, for people at the meeting and watching the recording, especially in case of CFP, like right after the meeting, I can help out to publish the proposal for CFP form. But then if anyone can and Phil that could coordinate the whole CFP setup with Emily later, like confirming, getting some, like exchanging emails, etc. Like basically coordinating to make it happen, get it published. Then once it's published, get it to a person that is handling the website to put it on the website, etc. Then please comment in the discussion where it will be published, and we will just put your name. So later when we have the meeting in 2 weeks, again, we can do like a project management, just go through the list of items that we have to do and like check where we are, if somebody needs help, or we need to find someone who can help, and basically coordinate a specific part of the work. For now, this whole surveying the community, it's definitely on me. Hosting meetings and making sure they happen, that's also on me. And as I already mentioned, he did this basic website that hopefully we can complete this week. And then he will be coordinating the overall website where we will publish the schedule, we will publish the brochure for sponsors, etc., etc., etc. But then, as far as I know, Ace wants just to coordinate and the coding. If there's anyone in the community that would like to participate in coding of the website, then yeah, that's definitely open and will happen in the conference website repo. And talking about because Emily, you mentioned this a sponsorship, right? Yeah. So yeah, again, like I did not volunteer yet for prospectus. So yeah, in case of prospectus and getting sponsors, again, like we need a lot of ideas here. So basically, again, I'm gonna start a discussion. So Emily, I'm gonna ask you later, like you can provide it to me and I can publish it on GitHub, or if you can just put it on GitHub, like the ideas that you know, like the best practices that you know from your events, that like not even how the prospectus itself look like, but like what is included, like in the sponsorship, the booths or not, like what's the price, what suggested amount of, like not amount, like the cost of the sponsorship, like because like last year we had virtual, so we were charging not much, like the platinum that was getting everything was just $5,000. So like last year we collected $25,000 on Open Collective. So I bet that we can collect much more this year when it's in person, but yeah. In case in person, there's much more that we can offer, and we need, again, input and ideas how to do it. And last but not least, also, there will be separate discussion about the budget. So I will, over next days, basing on what I got from Emily already, in a like super simple form, we will just summarize more or less how much money we will spend, and therefore, clarify with TSC if the costs are approved, and like, or we need to find a special sponsor for the event. But yeah, I would not worry much about the money, which is strange, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I see that others had to leave. So anything else from your side, or questions from you, Emily?
Oh, I think we're good to go.
Okay, cool. Do you prefer, like, especially what I said, like, do you like work with communities also through GitHub, or you just prefer to give me information and I will just paste there? For me, it doesn't matter, but what's your preference?
I prefer to send to you. I don't use GitHub very often. So
okay, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
I'll just make sure when I make a comment that it's not something that people should thank me, but to thank rather you for the input. Okay, cool. So I think we've shared a lot of details. So thank you so much, Emily, for taking time and joining the meeting and sharing your information with the community. And let's make sure we kick off quickly next week with CFP and the rest of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.